Okay, here we are. We're going to try it again. Okay, so we are grilling tonight. This is not a $1,000 grill. This is an old grill that we've been using for years and years and years. And it even looks a little inside, but Rick said that he could cook the steaks on it. So I will turn the mic over to you, Rick.
Hey everybody, I'm Rick Cisneros, and today we're going to go over how to grill some steaks. First thing we want to do is season our steaks. So right here, what we have 4 ribeyes. Quality does matter, so I would suggest getting your meat somewhere where you have a good butcher. These are some nice ribeyes from Harris Teeter, and these ones are from wherever Susan got them from.
Lanier's.
Lanier's, there we go. This is also a sirloin. What you'll notice in a good steak is you'll see some good marbleation in it, a good amount of fat. What ends up happening is that fat gets cooked into your meat, gives you some good flavor. It's very important. When I look at steaks, I want to see good fat consistency. Now, some people like my wife who like a thinner, leaner steak, you'll see that there's not as much marbleization going on right here. But I typically use 4 seasonings. Here we go. We got onion powder, McCormick. We got garlic powder. We got salt and pepper, fresh crushed. This is sea salt. Himalayan sea salt. And my favorite, Longhorn Steakhouse grill seasoning. So the first thing I'm going to do is get these steaks right here seasoned. These ones are already pre-made. Well, we seasoned them earlier. But first thing I do is I typically put some onion powder on it. And I'm pretty liberal with it. Reason for it is that meat, that consistency, just tastes better with more seasoning. Okay, there's our onion, garlic.
That's my favorite.
And what I try to do is I try to just coat the top layer of it. And if you put too much on, it's okay. The grill will take some of it off for you. And I go with Longhorn after that. The Longhorn, what I do is I try to get the seasoning good enough to where the whole steak pretty much turns that orangey red color. I know a lot of you are saying that this might be too much seasoning, but you'll see as you cook the steak, it's not really that bad.
I've had your steaks before, and a lot of times what happens is some of the seasonings get caught on the grill anyway, but a lot of it cooks in, so it's not overbearing.
Absolutely not. The next thing I put on it is pepper. And this is fresh pepper, crushed pepper, but regular pepper works just fine as well. And last but not least is salt.
Renee, I'm glad we're making you hungry. That's good. Now go out and get a steak.
Get a steak and cook it before it gets too cold. Then we're going to turn these babies over.
It is never too cold to cook steak.
No, that's pretty funny that you say that because it'll be raining and I'll go grill. I love grilling.
Yep.
So same thing over here. Salt. I mean, no, this is onion powder. Susan's being a great assistant today.
I'm a sous chef. Get it? Sous chef?
All right, here's some garlic powder.
We're going to take the comedy team on tour.
She just flew in from Los Angeles, and boy, her arm's tired.
Yep. Don't eat the pork chops.
And while this is all going on, if you notice, if you go pan over here to the grill, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that it's hot. Biggest secret of cooking steaks is making sure that your grill is hot at first, because what you want to end up doing is searing your meat, and then you'll see us turn down the temperature. But get your grill started and just get that baby piping hot. Longhorn seasoning, and last but not least, pepper and then salt. So now that my grill's hot, a little bit more on there. Now be liberal with this stuff because the seasoning will fall off. All right, now we're ready to go. Now try to get your meat all on at once, and the reason for that is you want to keep that temperature high. If you keep that temperature high, you're going to get a good sear on the steak. And I'll show you. So here I'm gonna start off with the ribeyes. You hear that sizzling, you know it's about right. Now, a common problem with ribeyes is just the sheer fact that because they have a lot of fat content on them, that they will start to drip. And when it drips, it causes a lot of fire sometimes. So what you just kind of want to do is just keep an eye on that. But these sirloins right here, we're going to go ahead and make sure that they are on there because of the less fat content. First thing you do is get them on and you close the grill.
Okay.
And when you're closing that grill, what you're waiting for is you're waiting for that season to basically crisp up and just get a good sear on that steak. So for the time being, what we're going to do is we're just going to stand here and, you know, hang out. Again, we're going high temperature. Just get that sear going. A big problem with a lot of people is what they'll end up doing is they'll move their steaks really fast, and you don't want to do that. You just want to let it sit there and get a good sear on it.
I was told that the more you flip a steak, it's same thing with burgers. If you flip it over and then you flip it back and then you flip it over, the more you flip it, the tougher it gets. You just flip it one time and you're good.
Right.
And chicken, same way.
Right. Well, chicken's a little bit different. We'll do another episode of cooking chicken. Chicken is absolutely one thing that you would kind of leave on there for a while. Steaks, on the other hand, I do flip them 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And just because I have a little secret ingredient, and my son at least thinks it's a secret ingredient, so I pour a little bit of beer on it to kind of bring up a good smoky atmosphere in there. So this is perfect time to drink a beer or drink a glass of wine or do whatever.
Yeah, because you can't use the whole beer on all those steaks.
Absolutely
so
not.
Why? I mean, you can't waste it.
We don't waste beer.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
So
but of course, like Sheila, we are not working, right?
Right. We're not working.
Okay.
You know, we don't have to drive anywhere.
No.
So, you know, here we are just hanging out.
Lori Hamilton, good to see you, and Christina Schaefer. I hope you all have your steaks. And Brooke is sitting over there waiting with bated breath.
Yes. And if you have a common problem that I have with my family, I like a rare steak, but my family doesn't. They like medium rare, and my wife, if it has any pink in it, she'll send it back, and I'll have to recook it. So what we're going to do today is show you how to kind of get through those tiers, and you know, just make sure that everything's going well. So I'm going to periodically pop open the grill. And what you'll see is you'll start to see the changing of the colors here. But what I do not want to do is let all that heat out. So I'm going to close it back just a little bit more. And more importantly, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting to see if that fat collects on the bottom and catches on fire. Because it will catch your steak on fire if you're not careful. So just periodically check, but contain the heat inside of the grill.
So we're still looking at what, 600
degrees.
Okay. Okay. So I have never cooked a steak with the door shut.
Absolutely.
Never.
Yeah, you want to keep it shut. It contains the heat better. Now I've done this through trial and error. I mean, I've been cooking steaks for a while. My wife seasoned them and I cooked them. And I found the best technique is to keep this closed. So you have that caramelization going on and you have that heat being trapped on it. Because if you actually look at the steaks, you'll start seeing that it's starting to cook on top as well.
Yeah,
they're not
red
pink
color.
Anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to get the smallest steak, kind of just flip it over, and I see I got a little bit of caramelization going on there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip her over. Now it's a good time to get it turned over.
Oh my gosh. Can you guys smell this?
That might be a little bit too much caramelization, but we're going to go with it.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
Now the sirloin, another thing to do is that I know I want this sirloin rare. I mean medium, or I want it well done. This is my wife's steak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the different heat zone of your grill. If you put your hand over the grill, you'll feel different heat areas. You'll see that it piles up more in certain areas than it does in others.
And every grill is different.
Every grill is absolutely different. Whether it's an old grill, so you see how these sirloins aren't as seared as this stuff is. Well, it's because this is a higher temperature. And you'll start seeing the fat start to melt off and catch on fire. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of get this guy, because he doesn't look as seared as this side does. And I'm going to move him back over here on a higher heat zone.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do, the other thing, and that's close it back up.
Okay. Now, one thing that you made this past summer, I guess a couple months ago, was you grilled corn on the grill while we were cooking everything else.
Yes.
And it was so good, and it was so simple, and I've tried it just knowing that it was going to fail, because I knew that I was going to catch everything on fire.
Right.
And I didn't. And so before we talk about that, I want you to tell them how to cook corn on the grill, because you're doing it in the husk. But Sheila is asking for the seasoning recipe. She started late.
Okay.
So
again, what we have is just McCormick onion powder. We have, in the same order, garlic powder. I swear by Longhorn steak seasoning. It is the best, and we've tried countless others. I've actually imported some from Florida called Everglade seasoning, and I like this stuff better. And then what we're using is just simple pepper grinder and Himalayan salt grinder, and that's it. And then a beer.
And a beer.
And beer. You definitely need a beer. Now I'm going to open this back up, and I'm going to check again, and I want to see that is perfect in my eyes. What you're seeing is you're looking for that good caramelization. You're starting to see some sear marks. The fat is the part that's going to start searing first, and that's a good sear. I'm going to flip her over. This other steak right here, I'm seeing the same thing, so I'm going to flip her over, but I'm going to put her on the lower heat now. And the reason I'm putting on a lower heat is because I got the inside juices trapped in there, and now I just kind of want to let it cook in itself. And I'm going to flip. Now this one, see, this one doesn't have enough sear on it, so I'm going to put it in a higher temperature to kind of keep it going.
Now all three of these are sirloins, right? All three of them?
Yes, all three of these are sirloins.
I know in cooking in the house, if you have a piece of meat that doesn't have a lot of fat, you either want to cook it on a high temperature quickly or a low temperature for hours, like in a crock pot. Is this same?
Very, very similar.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn down the heat.
And your heat is make medium now?
Right now I'm about medium. Okay. And see, you're starting to see it wick up a little bit.
But it's still high
right
on these sirloins.
So I'm just going to move this guy back over here. And that way I keep it away from that flame. I don't want it to burn. But what I do want it to do is cook. And see, we got a little bit of flame here. Don't worry about it. It'll burn out in a second. And I'm also going to get my beer. Right here we have Appalachian Seasoned IPA. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour this a little bit on top. And what you'll see is that smoke, when it hits the fire, the grill, and you start smelling it.
Don't worry, Sheila, this isn't the tablet.
Yes. And what I'm doing now is I'm letting if you look at the top of the grill, all that beer is condensating, it's turning into vapor, and it's giving it a good smoky aroma, a good smoky taste to it. And then we're just going to let it kind of chill out, keep the temperature low, while our sirloins on the other half of the grill are still hot. We're still trying to keep those nice and hot. And then we'll have a sip of beer.
Okay.
All right. And other than that, just enjoy the outside. I mean, it's beautiful out here. We have a great temperature. And
Sheila said we have more steaks than 2 people can eat, and she can be here in about 20 minutes. However, she is right now vegan, so that won't work. We don't have any tofu steaks.
No, we don't.
And we have 2 kids and another adult. So, but we do have potatoes and a nice salad. So you're welcome to join us.
So here's another thing. When you're grilling steak, if you don't have a thermometer, you're not going to get a precise, I guess, temperature on your steak. And when we stick these things in, we want to get it right in the middle of the steak, because if you get it on the bottom portion, of course that's right next to the flame, so of course it's going to read higher. If you get it on top, it's also the same temperature of the top, so you want to get it right in the middle. Okay, I like to use a thermometer because it tells me precisely how hot my meat is. But if another way to tell too is that if you move your chin with your 2 fingers, you'll know that that's rare or medium rare. That's well done. No, it's medium. Excuse me. rare, medium, well done. And that's something I picked up from Ramsey, actually. So, what I'm doing
He was
right
here
now,
last week.
Yeah, saw it last night in the kitchen night. So you'll see that these steaks are starting to come to temperature. I want mine rare, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick my thermometer in there. Turn it on first, and I got it stuck right in the middle. And right here I'm showing 120, 125 degrees. So this one's about medium rare. This one right here is a little bit more rare, so we're going to keep them on just a little bit. This guy should be hot. Yep, that one's. So I'm going to take these two off. No sense of wasting good meat. And this one's going to be in your medium rare category right now. So we're going to go ahead and take that one off.
So let me ask you this as I back up to get a plate for you. Another thing, when you take meat out of an oven, you let it rest for 10 minutes or so, it continues to cook.
Yes.
So that maybe that is at 130 something, but it's gonna rise up, and you never want to cut right into your meat because you want the juices to reestablish throughout the meat, right?
We're just gonna take We're gonna take that meat off, and we're just gonna put it right there. We're just gonna let it keep cooking, just like in baking. Right now, you're starting to see a really good sear on these sirloins. And sirloins aren't going to cook nearly as fast as a ribeye will, and it's partly because how dense the meat is. If you look at a sirloin, the meat is really compacted and tight, whereas if you look at a ribeye, you'll notice that we have more space in between.
It's floppy
Yeah,
when you
it's
pick
floppy.
it up. It's
Absolutely. So, right here, try not to poke the steaks that often.
Don't poke your steaks.
What ends up happening is you lose juices. But right here we're reading at a it's burning me. That's a 145. So that's a medium well.
Okay.
It went to 140. And also another big thing to take an idea of or think about is how thick your steak is.
Yeah.
Because thickness does count. You will see them shrink. This is my wife's. And you'll notice that I'm going to bring the steak up here to the front because I just burnt my hand and remembered. But I'm going to go ahead and stick it in about halfway through. We're at 124, 125, so that's about a medium rare steak.
She likes it well done, doesn't she?
She likes it well done, so we want to get it up to the 155 range.
We're just going to put that in the fire.
Yes, we're going to keep that going. Well, actually, we got it seared now. What we're just going to do is just going to let it sit here, chill out. Susan likes hers at medium well. Do you like yours at?
Yeah.
So you're looking at 145, and we'll see where we're at with that. 145, 147, that's pretty much it right there. And then I'm gonna get this little guy, and we're just gonna make him well done. And he should be at, right here you can see he's at 134, 135. So that's about a medium rare steak, and we're just gonna let it keep going some. And we're gonna go ahead and put some beer on it, because beer's tasty on meat. If you spill some on the actual fire, that's fine. Just let it go. Sometimes you just gotta be patient.
So tell us about the corn.
So the corn is, through trial and error, we've come to find that the best way to cook corn is actually, when you get the corn, get it in season. Corn out of season isn't really as good as it is when it's in season. And what you'll notice is that it has like hairs on top of it. And you might have one leaf that's kind of bent over. Well, get that stuff cleaned off and then keep your husk on. And then what you do is I put it on high heat, and then I just cook it just pretty much like a steak. And you'll notice it's starting to turn black. You know, periodically what I'll do is I'll open up the grill and I'll roll it just to kind of keep it even. And you'll start seeing the husk turn black. And once it turns black, your corn's done. And what you do is you can leave the husk on. I've been told by many people, hey, you know, as soon as you get done cooking that corn, go ahead and dehusk it. And no, leave the husk on. I found it to be way better, and it also keeps the corn warm. What we do is we'll go ahead and get all the corn done. We'll do like 6 ears. It's really cheap. It's like four for $1 or something to that nature. And we'll cook, you know, 8 pieces of corn, and then we'll put it in the oven when we're done with it. And we'll cook our steaks and with our potatoes, and we're good. And that's it. So that's corn. But yeah, keep the husk on, definitely.
It has a built-in corn holder.
Yeah, you have a built-in corn holder, and the husk just slides off.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever tried it in a microwave, but you take just one piece of corn on the cob. You do one at a time, maybe two, and you put it in for 2 minutes, I think, and then pull it out and cut the end, and the whole thing just slides off. There's not one little hair, not one thing on it.
That seems a little bit easier than how we do it.
No, but it tastes better this way.
Yeah, it does. Because you do fight the hairs a lot. I'm just going to flip her over. Every time I flip her over, I always want to kind of keep it wet. So a little bit of beer. And we're going to check the temperature. Remember, we want to go in the middle. So the steak's, if you look at the steak, it's about 1.5 inches. Well, about an inch. And I want to get it to about right there. So I'm going to look at my thermometer, and that's the mark right there. Get it in there. I'm going to turn it on first. We're at 147, so we're getting there. 150. All right, we're getting close.
And what's
a well-done steak?
Well-done?
Well-done steak's 155.
So if you took that out and let it rest, it probably would be at 155 by the time we got ready to eat.
Well, actually, the temperatures I'm talking about, so this one right here, this one's well done. It's at 155 right now, and I take it off the heat and just let it sit there. And actually, it still cooks, but the temperatures that I've been telling you guys tonight is the temperatures that you want to take the steaks off of the grill at. That way, they can sit, mature, and rest, and cook some more. This guy has a little bit longer. Quite frankly, this is like the extra steak that we have, so... you know, if you're gonna microwave steak,
yuck.
Well, sometimes you cook some steaks, and then you have a couple extra, just because you have
like
two in the package.
to heat
Yeah,
it
you
up
can eat
tomorrow?
it up next day or something like that.
Okay.
And if you know that this steak is gonna be the steak that you're gonna do that with, go ahead and take it off a little bit prematurely. And the reason for it is that when it gets in that microwave, it's definitely gonna
Leather up.
Yeah, it'll leather up. It's not the best. I don't recommend it, but you know, don't get rid of it. I'm gonna turn the grill off, and next time we heat up the grill, we'll go ahead and get it clean, get it really hot first, and that's how you cook a pile of steaks.
Pile of steaks.
Pile of steaks.
Sounds really appetizing.
Do you have any questions online, or?
I think you answered all the questions,
Well, very
except Sheila still wants to be here. So go ahead and head on over, Sheila, and if there's anything left over, you're welcome to join us.
And we'll try, our next episode, we'll try kebabs or something else. Barbecue chicken. There's a bunch of stuff you can grill. I don't like to cook, but I love to grill. And that's because it's beer and grill, and it's just something primitive about it, and it's fun.
I think next time we'll grill dessert.
Grill dessert?
Yeah.
No, that's Susan's doing. So.
Well, stay tuned for that.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we're signing off.